Hello guys, this is Rao from NGC Club 𝐬𝐸𝐴P. Hope you're all doing great. So in today's video, we are going to learn about conditional statements. So what is the use of conditional statements? When you want some statements to be executed only when some particular condition is satisfied. In such cases, we use conditional statements. So let's see what are the types of conditional statements in Java. So first it is simple if, and then second it is if else, and then third it is if else if, fourth it is nested if, and then fifth it is switch case. So first, let's look into the syntax of if. First, we'll write if. In here, we'll write some condition. Then we'll put some curly braces, and in here we'll write some statements which we want. So this is the syntax of if. So now let's look at the syntax of if else. First we'll write if, then in here we'll write some statements. Here we'll write else. Here we'll write some statements. So now let's also look at the syntax of if else if. First, we'll write if, here we'll write some condition, and then in here we'll write some statements. Here we'll write else if, here we can write another condition, and some set of statements. And then finally we'll write else and the rest of the statements. So now first let us see what does each of these mean. So first we'll look at if. So when you write some condition in if, when that condition in if which you have placed is satisfied, then only the statements inside it will get executed. We'll look into it. We'll look into the examples afterwards. So now let's look at if else if. So sometimes you might want that if this condition doesn't satisfy, then execute these particular statements. So in such cases we use if else. So if the condition in if does not satisfy, then the statements in the else part will execute. So now we'll look into if else if. So sometimes you want to check multiple conditions. In such cases we can use if else if. So if some condition in if statement doesn't satisfy, it will go into the else if part. So it will check whether the condition in the else if part satisfies or not. So if it satisfies, it will execute the statements in the if else block, and then it will execute the rest of the statements. But if the condition in else if part also doesn't satisfy, then automatically the statements in the else part gets executed. So now let's look into the syntax of nested if. First we'll write some if, Then here we'll write condition, then we'll use some curly braces. Inside if, we'll write another, inside the braces, we can write another if statement in which we'll place a condition. And this can continue to infinite times. It depends upon the question. So what is the difference between if and nested if? So in if, we just check only single condition, whereas in nested if we can check multiple conditions. So if the condition in if block satisfies, then only it will go inside the block, and then it will check again the condition which is placed inside the nested if statement. So now let us have a look at some examples. So first, the question is, write a program to accept the age of the user and print whether the user is a major or minor. So normally the people whose age is 18 years or above are considered as major. So condition for major is greater than age greater than or equal to 18, and minor age less than 18. So now based on the conditions, we have to write a program so that it prints whether the user is a major or a minor. So first we'll write an import statement, import java.util.scanner, and then here we'll write public static void main So now let's create an object of scanner class. So here I'm writing a print statement to accept the age from the user. So I'm declaring a variable age of integer data type. So now I'll place a condition like if the age of the user is greater than or equal to 18, he will be considered as major. So I'll write a condition if age is greater than or equal to 18, then I have to print that the user is major. So if the condition in the if statement doesn't satisfy, it will automatically go to the else part where it will print minor. So just let me close the scanner class. Close. Yeah. So now we're good to go. So let me run the program. So yeah, we can enter the age in here. Let's say we'll enter 16. So yeah, as you can see, the output is minor. So let's run the program again. Now here we'll write 21. Yeah, as you can see, the output is major. So what actually happened here? So first, we have created a scanner class and we have accepted the age from the user. Then it checks, the control checks if like the age entered by the user is greater than or equal to 18 or not. If the condition does not satisfy, it will go to the else part where it will print minor. So now let's have a look at another example. So here the question is, write a program to print the greatest number among the three numbers entered by the user. So first we have to accept three numbers from the user and we have to find the greatest among them. So now let me create a main function. So I'll import the scanner class in here. Now I'll create an object of the scanner class. So now I'll declare three variables named A, B and C. Now I'll ask the user to enter three numbers. Yeah, so I've accepted three numbers from the user. Now I'll write some conditions. If if a number is greater than the other two numbers, it will obviously be considered as greatest, right? So now I'll place a condition like if A is greater than B and A is greater than C, then we'll print that A is greatest. So if this condition doesn't satisfy, we'll place another condition in the else if block. If B is greater than A and B is greater than C, then we'll print that B is greatest. So if this condition also doesn't satisfy, then obviously C will be greater, right? Let me close the scanner class in here. Yeah. So what have I done here? I've accepted three numbers from the user. Then I've placed a condition. If A is greater than B and A is greater than C, then it will print that A is greatest. Otherwise, if this condition doesn't satisfy, it will go on to this condition where it will check if B is greater than A and B is greater than C. If this condition satisfies, it will print that B is greatest. If both the condition doesn't satisfy, automatically the control goes into else part where it will print C is the greatest. So now let me run this program. So yeah, it's asking 23 numbers. Let me enter like 5, 26 and 7. So now it's showing that 26 is greatest. So let me run again the program. I'll write a 9, then 6 and 3. It's saying 9 is the greatest number. So now let's look into the fifth type of conditional statements, which is switch case. So there's not much difference between if-else if and switch case. In if-else statements, the output depends upon the condition. The control, the execution of the statements depends upon condition. But in switch case, like if some value entered by the user matches to the cases which we have created, so that particular case, that the statements in that particular case will get executed. You'll understand it better when I give you an example. So now let's look into the syntax of switch case. So first we'll write switch. Here we'll write some variable. We'll open curly braces. In here we'll write case, and we can like case 1, some statements, and then we'll write break. Here we'll write case 2, some more statements, then again break. So like this there can be infinite cases, and it depends upon the question. And then in the end we'll write a default statement, default, and some statements. So how does this switch case actually work? So first, in the value of the variable here will get checked with each cases. So if any of the cases match, statements in that case will execute. So let us look at some example of switch case. So now write a program to print the days of a week according to the number entered by the user from 1 to 7. So the user will enter a number between 1 to 7 and the corresponding day of the week will get printed. So let me write an import statement. I'll define the main function in here. So now let me create an object of scanner class. So now I'm creating a variable of integer data type, let's say OP, and then I'll give a message to the user to enter a number from 1 to 7. So I'll store it in variable OP. So now we'll create some cases. So first we'll write switch, and that in the brackets we'll place OP. So first, if the value of OP is 1, then we'll print Monday. Then we have to write break, then case 2. So if the value of the OP variable is 2, then it will print Tuesday. Then again we'll write break, and in the similar way we'll write all the cases. Now as you can see, I have written all the cases in here. So in the end I'll add a default statement. So inside the block I'll write system.out.println the entered number is invalid. Now let me put a semicolon, and let me close the scanner class. So now let us run the program. Yeah, it's saying enter a number from 1 to 7. Let us enter like 3. And see, as you can see, the output is Wednesday. So let me run the program again. And now we'll enter a number, say like 10. And as you can see, the output is the entered number is invalid. So what actually is happening in here? So first, we are taking input and we are storing it in OP variable. Now what will happen is the control finds out which case is matching, and the statements in that particular case will get executed. And if no case matches, the statements in the default block gets executed. Now there's very much important thing which you have to remember. That's the statement called break. This statement is very much important. It is used to break a case. Let's see what happens if we do not write it. Now let me remove this break and I'll run the program again. Now it's asking to enter number from 1 to 7. I'll write 1 and the output should be Monday. But here, as you can see, the output is Monday and Tuesday. So this break statement is actually used to break a case. When you forget to write it, the successive cases gets executed automatically. So this is the point which you have to remember always. Now, yeah, this is the end of our video, guys. I hope you learned something. Thank you. Bye-bye.